For 6 weeks, this cat was left alone in an empty apartment with no food, no water, and no one coming back for him. 4 foster volunteers saw his photo and said no. The shelter had 19 days left before they ran out of options. Everyone agreed. Clyde was too angry, too broken, too far gone. They were all wrong. They told her this cat would never trust anyone. They said those amber eyes had seen too much. That permanent scowl was just who he was. That some animals arrive in this world already decided. They were wrong. The call came on a Thursday afternoon. Animal control had found him in an abandoned apartment on the east side of the city. The previous tenant had been evicted 6 weeks earlier and simply left him behind. No food, no water, just a ginger ball of matted fur and something that could only be described as righteous fury, hissing at anyone who dared come within 3 feet of him. When Lauren first saw the photo, she understood immediately why 4 other foster volunteers had already said no. This wasn't just a difficult cat. This was a creature who had looked at the world, taken a careful assessment, and concluded that it owed him a formal apology. Those copper-colored eyes weren't just suspicious. They were evaluating, judging, like he was quietly deciding which part of your personality to find most disappointing. His face was locked in what could only be called a permanent expression of mild contempt, like the universe had personally let him down and he had simply stopped expecting better. The shelter director called Lauren directly. He's bitten 2 handlers. He's been in isolation for 19 days. We're not sure he's adoptable, but we can't keep him there forever, and we've run out of options. Can you take him for 2 weeks, just so we can say we gave him every possible chance? Lauren had fostered 11 cats before Clyde, feral ones, traumatized ones, kittens who shook for 3 days straight, but she had never had one look at her the way Clyde did when she loaded his carrier into her car. It wasn't hostility exactly, it was more like disappointment, as if he'd been expecting someone else and she was a poor substitute. The first 4 days were a negotiation that only one party was aware of. Clyde claimed the spare bedroom immediately, positioning himself on top of the dresser with the authority of someone who had always owned that particular piece of furniture. Every time Lauren came in to leave food and fresh water, those eyes would follow her with the slow, deliberate attention of a professor grading a paper he already knew would be inadequate. He never hissed at her. That almost would have been easier. Instead, he just watched, assessed, found her wanting, apparently, but tolerated her continued existence in his space. Lauren didn't try to coax him down, didn't reach for him, didn't make promises she couldn't keep. She just sat on the floor, cross-legged, and talked about her day, about the weather, about the neighbors, about nothing important at all. "I know you've got no particular reason to trust me yet," she told him one evening, looking up at that magnificent, unimpressed face, "but I'm not going anywhere, so we might as well figure this out together." Clyde stared at her for a long moment, then looked deliberately away toward the window, as if the street outside was significantly more interesting, but he didn't leave the room. Day 6, something shifted. Lauren was sitting on the floor, as usual, scrolling through her phone, when she heard a sound so soft she almost dismissed it. A single, quiet step on hardwood, then another. Clyde had climbed down from the dresser. He wasn't coming toward her. He was simply standing 12 feet away, watching from a new angle. His expression hadn't changed. He still looked thoroughly unimpressed, but he was closer, and that was something. She didn't look up directly, just acknowledged it quietly. "Taking a field trip, Clyde?" His scowl, if anything, deepened, but he took 3 more slow, deliberate steps forward, then stopped. His entire posture radiated the message that this was entirely his decision and should not be interpreted as warmth of any kind. For 22 minutes, they simply existed in the same space. Clyde maintained his expression of general dissatisfaction. Lauren read an article about houseplants. Neither of them said anything important. It was somehow the most peaceful evening Lauren had spent in months. By the end of the 2nd week, Clyde had established a routine. Every evening, once Lauren had settled onto the couch with her tea, he would make his way slowly, dramatically from wherever he'd been and position himself on the far armrest, not close enough to touch, close enough to observe. His face never softened, never lost that spectacular, grumpy dignity, but the active judgment in his eyes had faded into something quieter, something that looked, if you knew how to read it, almost like companionship. I see some of you are still watching but haven't subscribed yet. Honestly, that stings a little. Hit subscribe. You're gonna want to see how this ends. The moment that changed everything came on a Wednesday. Lauren had received difficult news that morning, the kind that sits heavy in your chest all day and doesn't ask permission. She came home, dropped her bag by the door, sat down on the couch, and just stayed there. Quiet, still, not quite okay. She felt the cushion shift beside her, looked over. Clyde had moved from the armrest to the seat directly next to her, still wearing his signature expression of cosmic dissatisfaction, still looking as though he found the general state of things deeply unreasonable. But he was there, right there. And then, with the gravity and deliberateness of someone making a very significant decision, he stepped forward, turned twice in a slow circle, and sat down directly on her lap. He didn't make it gentle. He simply placed himself there, like a warm, opinionated paperweight who had unilaterally decided this was now his location. His expression didn't change. He still looked dissatisfied with everything, but he started purring, a deep, resonant, completely serious purr that Lauren felt all the way through. Stories like this are the reasons some of us open our homes to animals who've been told they're too much. This is exactly that kind of story. She didn't move for a very long time. She just sat there with 11 pounds of ginger cat on her lap, and something in her chest that had been tight all day quietly loosened. The shelter called the following morning about a sanctuary placement they'd arranged. Lauren looked at Clyde, who had stationed himself on the back of the couch and was glaring at a pigeon on the windowsill with the focused intensity of someone filing a formal grievance. "About that," Lauren said, "I think he's staying." 3 months later, Lauren's apartment has been comprehensively reorganized by a creature who has very specific opinions about everything. Clyde sleeps on Lauren's pillow, not beside it, on it, his round, grumpy face approximately 4 inches from hers every morning. He sits on her laptop during video calls, presenting his expression of mild contempt directly into her webcam. He has knocked exactly 23 things off counters, apparently just to confirm the physics still work. He has claimed the warmest spot on every piece of furniture in the apartment. People ask Lauren if Clyde ever looks happy, if he ever seems like anything other than a cat who has several unresolved complaints about the nature of existence. She scratches behind his left ear, the one he will, after careful consideration, permit affection, and she smiles. "He doesn't need to look happy," she says. "I know. Because here's the thing about animals who've been left behind, written off, deemed too difficult or too damaged or simply too much. They aren't choosing distance, they're choosing safety. And when they finally, carefully, on their own timeline choose you instead, that isn't them changing. That's them deciding you're worth the risk." Clyde didn't need Lauren to fix anything about him. He needed her to sit on the floor, night after night, and simply be there. Scowl, opinions, 19 days of isolation, and all. Some nights, Lauren still thinks about the version of events where nobody took the difficult cat, where Clyde was still in that room, waiting for someone patient enough to just stay. Would you have stayed?